Imagine if Ninja got a low table fate. Imagine if Ninja got a low table fate.
I love that I keep forgetting to cut it off before the TikTok marker. Welcome to the Forbidden Land podcast. This is episode 90. I'm starting this coming straight off the news that Liam from One Direction just died. I wasn't a One Direction fan, but holy shit. Because that's pretty horrifying. He's only 31, and you might think like, oh, you know, is it the typical reasons related to why celebrities usually die so young? Nope. He fell off a balcony. How insane is that? That's all that happened, was that he fell off a balcony. How horrible. He was in Argentina, and he fell off a balcony and died. That's kind of horrifying, actually. So yeah, fun news to start off the episode, because good lord. Anyways, let's move into some serious stuff. Asmongold! Yay! Asmongold is known for being incredibly dirty. Ugh. And he's been coming out with some really hot ass takes lately. And by hot, I mean like garbage. He'll just say shit. Oh great, I'm under a frost advisory. He'll just say shit, and his audience goes, sounds good to me. And it's just really dumb. But he hit the gold mine this time. He said on live stream that, chill out. He said on live that I'll just let the clip speak for itself.
As a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing.
Major difference between me and him. I drink water.
And how much did they kill? As many as they can. They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. That's it. Just takes enough. That's right. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them.
How, after a year now of a global superpower pummeling this territory that has been occupied by them for 75 years, how has he looked at all of that and gone, oh, but you know how, like, the governing body there, the fundamentalist radical terrorist group that has been propped up by Israel as the leading power in Gaza for the last 14 years. He's like, you know how, or it's been longer than that, I'm pretty sure. 17 years? He's like, You know how he's like, I'm just gonna say that Hamas is what everyone in Palestine thinks. And then also, so let's just say that genocide is not good no matter who's doing it. I don't understand that part. If there was like an ancient tribe of warriors that thought like eating babies was chill and cool, that doesn't mean you go in there and then drop 40,000 bombs on that ancient tribe. You know, that's not what you do. You know, that's just not really how that works. And it leads to white supremacist thinking. It's one of those things where it's like a slippery slope, right? Oh, you say these people, this group has inferior ideas, so you think it's okay to genocide them. Well, then what happens when another group thinks you have inferior ideas? Is it okay for them to genocide you? Also, to say this about people in Palestine, the amount of people I've seen now, journalists and civilians, and like people like Bassan, who were just like normal teenagers, young adults, just very normal people, seeing it from their perspective, seeing as they are like not fundamentalist radicals like Asmongold claims they are. It's just so racist for him to be like, everyone in Gaza are these radical Muslims who want to kill and eat the Jews, and that's why they deserve to, you know, be killed in mass, wiped out. You know, that's what that's that shit that like Columbus thought when he showed up to North America. He's like, oh, y'all, round them up, murder them, kill 90% of them over, you know, a multi-100-year span. It's just so gross. It's so racist. It's the same way that racist white people viewed black people for hundreds of years, and how some of them still think of black people. I don't know what that noise just was. It sounded like something shorted. Oh. Ow. Something shorting over here? What it sounds like. Yikes. Yeah, it just sounds like something shorting. That's not good. But yeah, his comments are disgusting.
And you
Guess there's a follow-up clip.
And you know what else is disgusting? That people in the West that enjoy more privileges and freedom than anywhere else in the world romanticize their behavior or their lifestyle as anything other than barbaric.
Oh, dude, what is wrong? This man has the privilege and the right to live in his own filth, to live in this disgusting ass room that he lives in. He has the privilege to say whatever the hell he wants, to sit down and play video games all day, to run his mouth. And for him to go, the people in the West, you know, prop up this inferior culture. The people of Gaza were just living normal lives under the occupation of Israel. You know, they would occasionally have to deal with violence from the IDF and just tyranny from the IDF. And also deal with the fact that they weren't allowed to re-elect a new governing body for Palestine. Realize that they were probably never going to have some kind of sovereignty in their country. But they still tried to live as normal a life as they could. And Israel continues to make that an impossibility. And so, yeah, this guy sits in the West and has all the privilege to sit in his nasty ass room and say whatever the fuck he wants. And yeah, he's so close to getting it. He's so close to getting that, yeah, it is kind of fucked up that we get to sit here in the complete comfort of our own homes. You know, as Americans, we have this warped sense of safety because we've been taught our whole lives that we're safe. The U.S. would never let someone touch us. Our two coasts pretty much protect us from any real feasible attack. It's why 9/11 was such a shocking event for the American people, when there's like 1,000 9/11s happening on the other side of the planet every year. You know, it's why Americans are so used to feeling safe here. And that warps our reality, where people like Asmongold are like, oh, the people in the West, they sit here in their privilege and fantasize about a life halfway across the planet. You know, not realizing they're barbaric. You know, the actual reality is that we do have the privilege of living in utter peace on our side of the planet. That's why we pay so much money to have military bases all over the planet, to feel this warped sense of peace in America. And then it's messed up that nowhere else in the world can they experience this. And that the people of Palestine just want to live a normal life, go about their lives as if nothing's happening at the scale that it's happening right now. That there's no group, that no nation that wishes their existence was wiped out. And then you have morons like this that are calling them barbarians, inferior. What culture is superior to theirs over here, man? What's so superior about whatever culture he's got going on?
Thank God I was born. And you know what?
Oh, it cuts off before he says, thank God I was born in the United States, or whatever the fuck he was going to say. Or born in the West.
Homophobic. If they're going to be homophobic and Israel's killing them versus they're going to be homophobic and Israel's not killing them, I prefer the they're going to be homophobic and Israel's not killing them outcome. I think we can agree on that, right? Especially if we both come to the recognition that Israel killing them is not going to combat homophobia at all.
Okay. All right. We can come to that agreement.
Okay, great. All right, perfect. That's it.
Yeah.
And beyond that, like I
that.
said, it's not, it's if they're going to be homophobic and Israel's killing them.
I don't know. What is so hard to comprehend about that concept? That we shouldn't just go and genocide a whole group of people because a decent percentage of them are homophobic. Should we start wiping out sections of America at that point? You know how many people, every time people go, oh, if you're gay, go to Gaza and they'll throw you off a building. Not only is that super racist, but also, you don't think there's places in America where that shit happens? Like, what are we talking about? That's not why we go to war and start bombing places. We're not doing that because there's gay people being discriminated there. The U.S. government doesn't give a fuck about that. The U.S. government engages in warfare because of the military-industrial complex and the sense of imperialism that it has to impose on the rest of the planet. And Israel's not fighting Hamas for the reason of like, Israel's not bombing Gaza because gay people are being thrown off roofs, supposedly. They're bombing Gaza because they want to ethnically cleanse the land and then take it. They want to expand. The Israeli government is ran by right-wing extremist Zionists, and their ideology says they should expand Israel. The whole reason they don't take Gaza and the West Bank is because of the UN, is because of the Geneva Conventions. They have to put up the facade that they're not going to take those land regions. And so they play this long game. Look at how much land they've already taken in the West Bank over the last few decades. Look at how they were forced to give back the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt, and that they probably would have kept it and still owned it if no one told them to give it back. They're not going to war with the Palestinian people because there's gay people being thrown off roofs. They're going to war because of imperialism. Because of what the ideology of Zionism brought to its extremes entails. That's the whole reason why that government over there is doing that. That's who's in power. Imagine Trump steroided up. That's who's running that country right now. You know, that's why we call it America Light. It's just another smaller America. And, you know, that's not why these countries go to war with these other countries. It's really not why. It's not because of homophobia. No one deserves to be slaughtered in mass. No one deserves to have their entire ethnic group wiped from the planet because some of them might be homophobic. That's a ridiculous thing to say. I've heard the same thing said about Iran back in 2020, that, oh, you know, we should be cool with starting a random war with Iran because they throw gay people off buildings. Iran does a lot of horrible shit. You know, some people do kill gay people in Iran. Some people do abuse women in Iran. Some people do some horrible conservative level shit in Iran. That's what happens when you live in a theocracy ran by a conservative religion. You know, people do horrible shit. But that doesn't mean it justifies, you know, wiping out the country in an invasion. You know, we're not going to wipe out some random town in Alabama because some people there are racist, some people there are homophobic, or both. Probably both. You know, we're not going to go and firebomb a town in Alabama because of those reasons. That's not how that works. And so obviously you would think like, oh, well, this guy said this on Twitch. If you replaced Palestinian with any other ethnic group, this dude would have been wiped from the platform. You know, if he said black people were an inferior culture and that's why they deserve to be genocided, he would have been banned immediately. And people thought, okay, Twitch isn't going to do anything about this. About a day and a half after he said those comments and then debated Hassan on it, he got banned for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. He got banned. It's a temporary ban. If it was permanent, his Asmongold account would have been gone too. But he did indeed get banned. And who would have thought? Someone said a 2-week ban is just a vacation. For these streamers, it's not a punishment at all. Honestly, yeah, the size that he is, a month ban would have been a little bit more of a devastating hit. But if it was just this Twitch ban, then, you know, whatever. That would have been like a little slap on the wrist. It was more than that. It wasn't just this Twitch ban. He also stepped down from OTK and Starforge. If you remember right, he was one of the leading faces of these brands, especially Starforge. He's especially who I thought about when I thought of Starforge. He's stepping down from those. So now his org is no longer backing him. He's no longer a part of a PC company. It gets better. Or at least I thought it did. It's better. He apologized for his comments. I don't have that linked. He apologized for his comments. Guess what? All of the comments from his fans in response to this apology, they don't like it. They hate it. They think he's walking back his statements. They think he should have stood by what he said. They're not comprehending how horrible it is that he said what he said. Those are some bad comments to make about a group of people. To go, this culture's inferior, thus it's justified that they're being wiped out. That's what the Nazis were saying about the Jews. as a justification in the 40s. That was their justification, was that they're inferior, we should genocide them. That was the justification they used for Jews, for Romanis, for gays, trans people, all of those groups. That's what they used as an excuse to throw them all into concentration camps. 11 million people they considered inferior before they eventually were stopped because they lost World War II. So think about that. It's a slippery slope. It's like free speech, right? If you start banning certain types of speech, what's to stop the next people in power from banning even further? You know, you go, we should ban, something light. Like you can't go on, like lie about something. I don't know, something light. Next administration goes into power, you can't, we've now banned it. You can't criticize the president anymore. That's the slippery slope of why the First Amendment exists. If you start going, I think this culture is inferior, thus it's justified they're being genocided, that stops no one from going, well, what if I think this culture is inferior and should be genocided? That's the slippery slope you're going down. It's disgusting. I wish his ban was longer. I wish it was a month. When it's a month, they lose all their subs. You have to build back from the bottom up with your subs, which shouldn't be like that hard for him to do. His fan base is pretty loyal. But I think the punishment should have been a little bit more extreme. Due to the nature of the comments. I think if these comments were about any other demographic, it would have been longer. If he had said that about black people, it would have been over. If he'd said that about the Jews, it would have been permanent. People don't take that lightly because it's happened before, the Holocaust. A genocide of the Jews has happened before. And so when you start calling for the genocide of Jews, yikes, man. Everybody understands that that's wrong. That would have been permanent immediately. The only reason I think he got banned for the comments about Palestinians is because of the hot nature around the conflict in Gaza, and I feel like the ban was more of a public pressure ban than it was Twitch making an actual decision to ban him based on his comments. I think they realized the optics were not good and that a lot of people were turning on him. And then they were like, yeah, we probably should dish out some level of punishment for comments like that, because it isn't our TOS to ban people for making racist comments and calling for the genocide of an entire group of people. I think that's why they dished out that punishment. I think if the comments were about black people, Jews, literally even white people, I mean, they ban people for saying shit about white people too. I think if he had made the comments about any other demographic, he would have gotten a longer sentence or a permanent one. But those are my thoughts on the Asmongold thing. Asmongold's been frustrating me for so long because he has such a big normie audience and he just says such uninformed, ignorant shit that it really makes me upset, because then those people take that out into the wild and then they just get publicly embarrassed and owned in front of the hose. It's so sad. Watching some kid go, did you know that? And then they spit out some conservative lie and all the women go, ooh, get away from me. Ugh, God. So funny, funny story time. So I'd be working in sort of a customer service role. I'm not going to say where. I'm not allowed to. And I've been working in a bit of a customer service role lately. And there was this guy getting arrested and in the parking lot. And there was a cop that pulled him over or stopped him from leaving. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I saw them cuff him. 4 cops showed up. 3 cop cars, 1 like weird cop cart type of deal. And they arrested the guy. But I was like, what was the point of bringing all these cops? In this one particular area, I see someone get pulled over and then like 5 other cops join them. And it's for nothing that serious. It's always like they get out, they're complying, they peacefully accept the handcuffs on them, and then like they don't resist at all or anything. And then they just get placed in the cop car. And then like there's like 8 officers around them. I'm like, what are y'all over here doing? Lazy asses, go do something. Waste of tax money. And I was sitting there, and this older, probably like 70s or 80s older black gentleman is standing there, and he's just waiting on his boss to finish paying for something. And he's like, man, that's some bullshit. And we just get into like a 20-minute conversation about how lazy and garbage so many police departments are and how it's a systemic issue. It was such a good conversation. But I think he was just shocked that like a white guy was talking to him like this and not going, well, hold on now, not all cops. No, I was going the full, it's the whole system of police. I just thought it was really cool to have a conversation with a guy like that. A dude who's lived through a lot and experienced all these things. It was just so funny how he started it out. He was like, man, these lazy ass motherfuckers, they don't do shit around here that's worth anything. I'm like, honestly, yeah, you tell them. Because these people are lazy as hell sometimes. Dude, they will literally, 5 of them will show up to a traffic stop and then just stand there and do nothing. I'm like, why are you here? Shouldn't you be going and like speed clocking people or something? Why are you here? That right there shows me that we should be defunding police departments. And people go, oh, you're going to defund them. Give them enough funding to do basic police functions. The thing that you envision police doing, you know, giving people tickets, arresting people, and like keeping the peace is what their intention should have been. Give the rest of the funding to like social workers and like stuff like that, and like drug rehab programs. There you go. Society solved. I figured it out, folks. Society solved. All right, let's move on my doc. I went off doc a little bit. I want to talk about this really funny thing that I read about. I was unaware of this. So, if you didn't know, oh, that's awesome. Donald Trump has been, hold on. I want the article directly. Oh, man. So, Donald Trump has not been shot at twice. He's been, it's been attempted to assassinate him multiple times. The most recent one seems to be in at Coachella. Coachella, California, where a man was arrested near a checkpoint. Kind of lame. But, I mean, it was very clear he had some suspicious shit going on. God. But, you know, he's had multiple attempts towards him. The one in Butler, Pennsylvania. The one at the golf club. He was in one of the names listed on the kidnapping plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. He was one of the politicians listed that the guy wanted to kill by hanging. There's multiple poisoning attempts, some rally incidents during 2016. One of the most notable ones I've now learned is the 2017 forklift attack attempt. Let me read you what the Wikipedia article says. We'll read it together. On September 6th, 2017, in Mandan, North Dakota, Gregory Lee Langang stole a forklift from an oil refinery and attempted to drive it towards the presidential motorcade while Trump was visiting to rally public support. After the forklift became jammed within the refinery, he fled on foot and was arrested by pursuing police. He got it stuck. Dude was not forklift certified. Somebody get OSHA up in here. They're the ones that need to investigate that. While interviewed in detention, he admitted his intent to murder the president was by flipping the limousine with the stolen forklift, to the surprise of authorities who had assumed he was stealing the vehicle for personal use. He pled guilty to the attempted attack, stealing the forklift, and related charges. Several other unrelated crimes on the same day. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison. His defense attorney noted a serious psychiatric crisis. Yeah, good luck getting an insanity plea on a presidential assassination attempt. That is crazy. Man. I can't believe he got 20 years for that. You think the theft of the forklift was a felony because it was worth enough to count as one? I assume, though, it was the attempted attack that gave him the majority of those years. That's crazy that his plan was to flip the limousine. How is he going to kill the president if all he did was flip the limousine? What was the plan there? That's so funny. There's like another one where someone tried to drive a car fast while shooting at Obama. That one's kind of funny. I feel like that people don't talk about the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot enough. Right? Like, why do people not talk about this more? The FBI announced the arrest of 13 men suspected of orchestrating a domestic terror plot to kidnap politician Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. I don't understand. Dude, so many people got arrested during this. Was it because of COVID? Weird. Yeah, what an odd plot. Go read up on that. I remember hearing about it and I was like, what the fuck? They tried to kidnap the governor of Michigan? That's so weird. But yeah, you should go read up on that. Speaking of the North, this might make me die. And I have a funny tweet to go with it. This might actually make me perish. The Harris Walls campaign, I think, just fed us the most Pokemon Go to the polls moment I've seen since that moment. There's something truly depressing about reading this. You know, when they announced Harris as the candidate, I had a renewed hope that the Democratic Party would take a little bit more of a progressive swing and they would try a new strategy. And then a month into the campaign around the DNC, the Biden administration went, but guys, we have senior campaign officials and they need work. So let's put them in the Harris campaign. Which, like, the Biden campaign failed so spectacularly. One, because he was older than God. He's literally older than the country we're funding to bomb Gaza right now. He's old as hell. He's the only president born under FDR. And he's the current one. This dude, that was one of the major issues of his campaign. Take away the old part, you just have this conservative ass Democrat campaign of the likes of like Bill Clinton. And so they infiltrated her campaign during the DNC and immediately started going, you know that phrase y'all have been saying that's been working really well, the "we're not going to go back" and "these guys are weird" lines that y'all have been doing that are super popular and getting people super hyped for the election? Cut that shit out. We want to lose this election. They feel like fucking ops, dude. They feel like the ops. It feels like they came from the Republican side to infiltrate. That's what it feels like. It's like they intentionally want to lose. Amy Klobuchar, who is one of the senators from Minnesota, was with Tim Walz at an event, and she said, we're going to see like a bus going through western Wisconsin with, and I want you to picture this, Bernie Sanders and Dick Cheney together, holding a sign that says "Brat Fall." I have never wanted to kill myself harder. Who says something like that? You're going to see a world where Adolf Hitler and fucking Noam Chomsky are going to be holding a sign saying, "Brat Summer." What? No. Why are we doing this? Why? Why are we propping up these Republicans? Who are you moving the needle for? It's making me nervous for the election. It's making me really nervous. I think Harris will win, but honestly, I think the Democratic Party is trying to prevent that from happening. This should be a layup, dude. You're running against like a known liar who is so untrustworthy amongst a lot of the party that he's running for, that he's already a pretty deeply unpopular candidate amongst general Republicans and a somewhat popular one amongst a lot of his supporters, but he's bleeding supporters all the time. His VP pick is like just short of a neo-Nazi. He's like one or two comments removed from being Nick Fuentes, just older. Yeah, double the age. It should be a layup. This should be easy shit. And yet we're going to squeak past the finish line. Let me show you what my prediction map looks like, because it's so depressing. My prediction map, I predicted that she would win the election by this slim of a margin. That she would win the election by 27 electoral votes. You know how slim that was? And I was being generous. I gave her North Carolina, which now I feel like is kind of a toss-up because of the hurricane stuff and all the rhetoric from the Republicans saying that the Democrats don't care about North Carolina. You know, I'm already nervous about this pick because if she doesn't win this, she's going to win by 11 votes, which this is a depressing map to look at. I've already gone out on a limb and said that I think she might win Wisconsin. If she doesn't win Wisconsin or North Carolina, but she wins the rest of these, then she's going to squeak by 1 vote. This was my prediction. This is depressing. And I already know, like, these states up here are very sparsely populated. They look big. In reality, they have, like, the smallest populations of any state in the country. So I know that this is kind of a false representation of, like, the electoral base. This is not that many people. But each of these states hold a decent amount of electoral votes. And it's really sad that this thick of a red splotch is on here. Let's take a look at other races. At previous races, because this electoral map gives me access to other races. Let's look at the Clinton-Trump victory versus my prediction. Honestly, this is kind of worse. Here's the Clinton loss, and here's the Harris prediction. So, she lost Arizona, lost Wisconsin, lost North Carolina, which North Carolina was pretty red at the time anyways, lost Pennsylvania. This is what Trump won by. Here's the Biden victory. Look at how slim this is. And I've already projected that I think Harris would lose Georgia. What happened to my Biden map? Give me this. I can't make edits or else it'll change his name. I already said that I think she'll lose Georgia. So if she wins the exact same states Biden does, then, you know. If she wins the same states that Biden does, then I would say that she'd still be winning by the slimmest majority. My map is not that generous. I didn't give her Nevada. If I gave her Nevada, she'd go over the 300 mark. I did exclude Nevada. I might be off base with Nevada, but I think I went with a more controversial take on Nevada to kind of give a more realistic outlook on the election in case Nevada is a bit of a toss-up. I did give her Arizona, which is a bit of a risk for my prediction. If she loses Arizona, she still wins, but it doesn't look great for her chances. I kind of based it off what Biden won by, basing off of what polls I've seen her leading in. North Carolina, I've only given the win to because I think it will go somewhat hand in hand with the recent Dem switch up in that state, and the fact that their governor is probably going to be reelected as a Democrat. Those are the reasonings behind some of my predictions, but the Democrats don't have room to fail in a lot of these states. You know, they lose Wisconsin and North Carolina, they're winning by 1 electoral vote, if the rest of my map is accurate. If they win Nevada, they're winning by 7 electoral votes. Ooh. Or I guess I should say 8, because if she just got to 270, she'd still win. So she's winning by 8 in this projection I'm showing. If she won these 2 states, it'd be a comfortable, still narrow, but somewhat comfortable slide over the finish line. I wish the Democrats would start picking up steam in some of these states up here. But, like Kentucky, man. They've got a Democrat as a governor. I don't know how that happened. But they do. Imagine she wins Kentucky. I don't think she would. But let's say she does. And then she also wins Georgia, because why not? That's a decent little margin. I don't know. I'm just nervous. I'm super nervous for this. But, yeah, lean right. Really. This shit's going right regardless. I don't think she'll win Florida. Florida's too Republican now. Florida's no longer a battleground state, unfortunately. Which makes elections a lot more horrifying. Because that's a lot of electoral votes. This is why the Electoral College is flawed. There's way too many people who have their voices silenced in this country. Way too many people. Take the 2016 election. Think of the amount of people that just didn't get a voice during that election. Millions of people. About 2 million. This person said, this isn't Juniper, is it? It is Juniper. Juniper says, if I were Bernie Sanders, I would kill myself in front of Amy Klobuchar, altering the course of the rest of her life forever after saying this about me. It's just such a crazy comment to make. To say that the most like left-wing Democrat, the most left-wing politician in the Senate, paired with the most right-wing war criminal, just disgusting human being you can think of, putting him and Bernie next to each other on a bus and saying on a sign, "Brat fall." I'm sorry? Brat fall. What the fuck is Brat fall? Dude, how old is she? Who's her social media guy? She's not even that old. She's 64. Ask your kids what's trending. Come on, man. Holy fuck. Oh, God. But yeah, so that's what Amy Klobuchar said. All right, as we come to the end of the episode, this is episode 90. You know, a little bit of a retrospective here. We're doing good. We did a lot of episodes this year. Enough where my WordPad just almost crashed. We've done a lot of episodes this year. We've done... No, we've done more than that. 45. So we've done about 50 episodes if we don't include the bonus ones. That's a lot of content. That's a lot of hours of me talking. You could probably make an AI of my voice. Don't! You could probably make an AI of my voice at this point with how much podcast content's out there. Yeah, we made it to episode 90. I would like to give an update, make a bit of an announcement. The election live Forbidden FM special will be on election day. It's on a Tuesday night, November 5th. It'll start around 7 something. Let me verify. The live election coverage will start at 7 p.m. Because that's usually around when East Coast polls close. If I find out that the polls are closing later than that, I will change the stream time, or maybe I won't if it's like an hour after that, just to give some kind of speculation, commentary, look at exit polls. But it'll be a live episode. It'll be a long one probably, but because then the Central Mountain and West Coast times have to finish up their polling as well. But yeah, we're gonna do an episode live on November 5th for the election for Forbidden FM. It'll be on the main channel, but that's actually the subject of my next thing. So while this one will be on the main channel, it will be the last Forbidden FM. Actually, maybe not. It'll be the second to last Forbidden FM ever hosted on the Dane Makes Music YouTube channel. As I inch closer to a potential retirement from live streaming, I just realized how far down the camera's angled towards me. As I inch closer to a potential retirement from live streaming, I have decided that probably starting in 2025, Forbidden FM will be hosted on the Forbidden Land podcast channel under the live tab. I just figured it'd be easier to do it like that when I shift everything over. So from now on, Forbidden FM will be hosted under the live tab on the FLP YouTube channel. The live episodes will just be, that'll be the final upload. is the live VOD. And then obviously it'll go up on streaming sometime after. But that's the goal, is to have Forbidden FM be streamed on the day that I intend for it to come out. So it should be a good one. I'm going to try to work on multi-hosting where I have it streamed to YouTube and Twitch. That I was able to do the first episode on YouTube and Twitch. I haven't really been able to replicate that since then, so hopefully in the future I can dual stream on Twitch and YouTube. But yeah, so the live election episode will be November 5th at 7 p.m. Time is subject to change. The last Forbidden FM of the year, if I do one, would be maybe on Christmas Day. It depends on how much time I want to spend with family. And if we do an episode of Forbidden FM on Christmas Day, it'll be doing the Santa tracker. But I don't know. I might just end up doing the a normal live stream that day. We'll see. But yeah, those are the changes to Forbidden FM coming next year. I'll talk more about it in the State of the Union episode. One of the last episodes of the year will probably be the State of the Podcast episode, where we talk about what's to come, what we've accomplished, all of that. And then we do another year of podcasting. And then I will start to wrestle with the idea of, do I continue into 2026? So yeah, that's the update on Forbidden FM. Time for your fun fact. Let's go back to 2003. In 2003, the U.S. was gearing up to invade Iraq. We had just spent months and months and months convincing the UN that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Our evidence? I made it the fuck up. It's a pretty open secret now that we lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq because we never found any. In reality, we wanted to invade Iraq, kill Saddam Hussein, overthrow him, whatever you want to say, and then take their resources. Take a somewhat thriving nation and just destroy it. And so in 2003, we were gearing up to invade Iraq. And the international community somewhat backed us because we're America. We're America, baby. And they backed us. Everyone but France. France decided, I don't know if I want to help you invade the Middle East. In the name of freedom, of course. We were already invading Afghanistan. Pretty sure they didn't want to help us invade Afghanistan either. For being super unpatriotic. The U.S. government decided that in cafeterias in the government, they would be renaming French fries to freedom fries. I shit you not. We started calling them freedom fries. People would start calling French toast freedom toast. That's how much France not wanting to help us invade the Middle East hurt our feelings, is that we changed the name of French fries to freedom fries. Go look it up. It's a funny story. But that is your fun fact of the episode. Of the week. So, anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Go subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod. We have what tiers do we have? I always forget. Because I'm very forgetful. We have a $1 tier if you just want to send me $1. We have a $3 tier if you just want to send me $3 and get a Discord role in the Discord. I have a $10 tier, which gets you bonus content, like the bonus episodes and like extra stuff that I might have cut, or like how I uploaded the full audio and video clip of my mom's segment from Forbidden FM Spooky Edition. Or if you want to watch me read out Mark Robinson's erotic comments on Nude Africa, or if you want to watch the outtakes from the Patreon bumpers that I do in the middle of the episodes, if you want to watch stuff like that, that's the $10 tier. And then there's a $15 tier, which is just if you want to send an additional $5 and get the added benefits of the $10 tier. It's just a supporting tier. $100 if you just really want to send me $100 to support the podcast. But yeah, so that's the tiers on Patreon. Go subscribe for Forbidden Land Pod on patreon.com. Go listen to us on streaming services. We're on YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Podcast. I just found out the joke I've been making about the Samsung fridge is not a joke. I just found out that one of my family members has a Samsung fridge and that they can listen to music on it from the Samsung Music app, meaning you could potentially actually listen to this podcast on a Samsung fridge. I need to see somebody do it. I need to see someone do it. I will be my happiest when I see somebody listen to this podcast on a Samsung appliance like a fridge. That would be so funny to me. Yeah, listen, we're on Amazon Music, all of those places. If you need the RSS feed, it's on danesmusiccollection.weebly.com. Go to the Forbidden Land podcast tab. There's an RSS feed button. You can copy and paste that into your podcast listening app if you use an app that's not one of the ones I listed. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next week in episode 91. Yeah, all right. Peace.